Okay, I'm actually here. Yes, I am. It's Wednesday morning at 9:17 a.m. I gave you 45 seconds of Epidemic Sound Instrumental, our royalty-free accompanying music, which I use as my background music. Yeah, sounds good, right? There we go. October 30. 30 days, half September, April, June, and November. All the West have 31 except for February. So we go one more day in October, or two, today and tomorrow. And then October is El Guano. And we end up in November. Yep. So this is Wednesday. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, obviously all the news has to do with, Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump. Yes, sir, Bob. What a mess. Well, this is what we're seeing. This is registered voters, September, October. And look at this. 9/24. So from 9/24 to 10/24, you're seeing essentially a straight line up to 50%. 50% chance of winning, with Kamala at 48%. And you can see that the lines have crisscrossed over the months from September to October to November. So, I mean, if you're a Donald Trump guy, that's music to your ears, because you want to finish strong. Here's another graph. Well, this is the whole graph from these guys. This is Fox News polling. This is going up and down every week. 214, 324, 524, 624. So you go all the way, month by month. And there you go. You see Trump up over 50 and Kamala 48. Kamala has not finished. It's called finishing week. This is a bunch of polls. The Marist poll, the WAPO poll, the New York Times Siena poll, Wall Street Journal poll, AARP poll. See that? Up 1, up 3, up 5, up 2, up 3, up 6. Yeah. This is for Arizona. There's Bill Hemmer talking about the chart that I just talked about. He's a little more dramatic. He's waving his arms and all this stuff. I just told you what I told you in 30 seconds. I've been informed that my trial of the full self-driving supervised application that's in my Tesla has been extended. So I guess I'll have to try it out again. See if they smoothed it out and put an address in and see what happens. It's full self-driving, but you gotta stay alert. So it's really not level 4. It's still level 2-3. 2-3. 2/3. Meaning, keep your hands on the wheel and watch what's going on. Anyway, so, and there's a little graphic of, the download. I just got a download. Every 2 weeks or so, they send you something to enhance your driving experience. I mean, it's unbelievable. We've been driving a car. This is our second Tesla. We've been driving him for 4 years, roughly. And it's a magical car. It's unbelievable. It's like driving a car. You just plug it in. No fuming, no gas and all the smelly and the greasy, oily stuff that, associated with a gas station. God knows who handles that handle before you handle that handle. That's what always makes me a little crazy. Just getting bacteria. At my age, I don't want any bacteria. I don't want any, viruses, bacteria, whatever. At crowding 80, you don't want that stuff. You could end up dead. So I prefer the handle on the Tesla supercharger station, or the handle on my own thing that's rolled up in the back of the car. I told Marilyn we're going to charge. There are 2 cars that are blocking where I can get charged. So I made up these signs. I'll show it to you. Here we go. You see this sign? Please excuse the Tesla blocking your vehicle while I'm charging. Please call or text me to my cell, and I will move my car immediately. Thank you. And I have my apartment number, Rural Palm Place resident. So, little sound effects there. Yep, I put those up in the windows, all the windshield and both windows, so that if the guy who owns the Range Rover that's been parked there for like 4 months, you think he'd put the sign on the door, I'm out of town or something. No one knows what the hell's going on with that car. I've taken pictures of it. I sent it to the office. It's a 9 to 5. It's an 8 to 5 spot, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. The guy has been continuously parked there for 4 months, like it's a parking lot. Anyway, it's my kid was working out in our gym, and it came up through my watch. And it says, "You want to beat this?" No. All right, daughter Robin has sent me a Halloweeny mug. There it is. Which is, how cool is that? The stainless steel mug. I'm actually drinking. This is a green one. I should have used that one. I have a little spot of tea in there with half and half. Yeah, of course. Not exactly the British way, but yeah. There's Gutfeld in the back in the big TV. It's an 85-incher, by the way. About 13 inches. That gap right there. They wanted to have it lower. I said, up. The installers. Up. Keep going, baby. Are you sure, Mr. Bud? I said, oh yeah, I'm more than sure. Up. Get your ruler out, 12 inches. Well, he put a 13 in. I don't know. I said, we have a piece of furniture right there that's going to go underneath that thing. And then there's going to be nicky nackies on top of that, and I don't want it blocking the screen. Up. Really, I mean, it was a little bit of a headache 5 years ago. I was fortunate enough to buy that TV for $1,800. Can you imagine? 85-inch TV from Samsung, $1,800. 3 years ago, that had been $50,000. But now they figured out how to make them by the millions, apparently, or make them a lot of them. And it was $1,800 at Best Buy. Then we had the Geek Squad install it for another $200. And then I had to buy the bracket. That's a racket, the bracket, for another $200. So it cost me $400 to hang it on the wall and $1,800 to buy the TV. So, that's $2,200 installed. But, the wires are behind. See, the wall, so you don't see any wires hanging out. They went in the wall. They had put this little socket thing. And then they cut another hole in the wall down below, and the wires come out. It's the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be done. You can't have wires hanging down. I mean, now, that's ugly. You're going to pay $400 for an installation. You want the walls. You want the cord. The cords. There are several cords. The power cord. Then you got the input cord. And then you got an output cord. And then you got another cord just for the hell of it. In case you want to have some other device deliver a signal directly to the TV. All right, Polymarket. I don't know if any of you have heard anything about Polymarket. Polymarket.com. Apparently they analyze everything that everyone else has been analyzing over the last few days, weeks, months about who's doing what. And this is the map they come up with. And they have decided that Michigan is still toss-up. We got Wisconsin leaning Republican. Minnesota definitely Democrat. New Mexico leaning Democrat. Well, definite. So, and it's got a little border there. So apparently some of the polling that's going on is, maybe the Trumper can pick up New Mexico. Georgia is leaning Republican rather than solidly in there. North Carolina, same way. Pennsylvania leaning Republican. Wisconsin leaning Republican. Michigan, toss up. I mean, 48-48. Well, in light of all that, Polymarket, you see that 0.9% up? So it went from 65.7, to 66.8. Yep. So they seem to think, their handicapping is that Trump has a 66.8 probability of becoming the next president. And Kamala has only a 33.3% chance of becoming the next president. And she is down almost a point. Yeah. And you keep going back to this. Every day they change it every day, every minute. If they get some more polling data, I got some polling data for you. Oh my God. It's real clear politics. Everybody's today or yesterday was the biggest polling day in the history of polling because it's exactly 1 week to voting. So they threw out all the stops on polling. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, Polymarket. And Polymarket had the benefit of all this polling data to produce. So you can see the up and the down. Trump went up over 50, then it went back to 48, you can see. And then, Trump is up to almost 75%, and he's come down. And now he's climbed back up to 66%. Harris at 33%. So Polymarket presidential forecast is that things are lining up for Mr. Trump, former President Trump, which it should. The guy was a former president, and he comes out and basically says the same thing Reagan said. You feel better now than you did 4 years ago? I don't think so. That's a tough. Pound of butter is almost $7 a pound now. It used to be $3.29. That's not a 20% increase. That is a 100% increase. So how the government comes up with their, their CPIs and all that stuff, that needs to be examined. Mr. Musk, go in there and take a look at that. I think they're cheating. Yeah, because all these things are a lot more expensive. It's a 100% increase. Everything in the store is 100% higher than it was a couple years ago. So that's what that inflation thing is a killer. It's a country killer. It is a country killer. Yep. All right. So here's a little more Polymarket stuff. Presidency 67% Republican. It looks like right now. Now, if that goes up to like in the 70s, then that needle is going to move to likely instead of leaning. So we're still very close to the election. Everyone's got to go out and vote, no matter who you favor. Vote. Let's get 75% of the United States voting. Get off the couch. If you're getting Social Security benefits and you want to have no tax on Social Security benefits, get off the couch and go vote. If you make tips as a major part of your income, no tax on tips. You know who said that? No tax on Social Security benefits. I'm going to search today under what administration did they start taxing Social Security income? It seems to me there was a period of time where they didn't tax Social Security income, and then all of a sudden started doing it. That's disgusting. You pay in your whole life, and then they take back 20% of it. Once they give it to you and they take it back, that's a bunch of crap. Anyway, here we go. The House of Representatives is a toss-up. 51% Republican. Yeah. Here's the third thing. You have the presidency, you have the House, and you have the Senate. Look at that. See, 83%. There's an 83% chance that the Republicans will control the Senate. And Mr. Schumer, you can retire. There's a 47% chance that the Republicans will sweep it. In other words, they'll get all three. That would be very good. If the Republicans can get all three, then they could actually pass some legislation and really fix up the country. Because the country's a mess. These Democrats just, I don't know what it is. They're not good managers of things. The Republicans, they sit down and battle out, what these bills. And it's very interesting if you had the presidency, the House, and the Senate. That would really be a slammer in the face for the Democrats, the American public, saying, you guys did a terrible job. As Trump says, you're fired. Get out of here. The Trumper. It'll be, I actually look forward to that. I'm not a huge Trump fan. I am a conservative, And I'd rather have him in there, than Kamala, because she's just going to spend more money. Inflation's going to go up. And if the American public, give her a raise, with the terrible job they've done, that would be disgusting. Better to vote no contest. Better stay home than vote for a loser. That's how I look at it. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think some Democrats are just going to say, you know what, I think I'll sit this one out. And that's what they're afraid of. Because sitting it out is the kiss of death for someone who's running for office. She just doesn't have, Can you imagine having her in a face-off with Putin or President Xi? You don't have time. You don't have time to go talk it over with mommy when you're staring these people in the eye. You gotta have some, cojones, so to speak. If you don't have any cojones, you shouldn't be in that seat. And I have a feeling when it comes down to it, this little tiny woman who doesn't know anything about anything, she doesn't answer any questions, so. All right, more poly market stuff. Trump gets more black voters. There's an 86% chance that he will get more black voters than he got in 2020. Trump wins every swing state. There's a 30% chance that he'll do that. Will Trump win Miami? There's a 72% chance he'll win over Miami. Just as a block of votes, which are, Miami is, very liberal, but they're also very Jewish, and this administration is not friendly to the Jews. No. Will Harris publicly support tax on unrealized gains? There's a 2% chance that'll happen. Now, can you imagine if you own a house and it's worth, $50,000 more than it was last year, because or the year before, whatever period. They want you to pay your 20% tax on that unrealized gain. In other words, you didn't sell your house and got the gain. Now, the present tax code says you got 18 months to reinvest, whatever gains you got, in another house that you're going to live in. And then there's no tax. That gain just kind of flows up through the next property. But they want to tax it as soon as they can measure it. So if your house went up $50,000, you got to pay $10,000 in tax, and you didn't sell your house. So where does that money come from? Yeah, I mean, it's like a ridiculous, you got to make sure that person doesn't get elected. Will Kamala go on the Joe Rogan show before the election? A 14% chance of that. I think not. She don't have the cojones to sit with him for 3 hours, because he'll follow up. He'll follow up with the follow-up. He'll ask that question 6 different times and basically said, hey, lady, you got to answer this question. I'm going to keep asking it until you answer it. You need to know the answer to this question. How do you expect to be President of the United States if you won't answer this question? Record turnout in 2024 for the presidential election. There's a 48% chance of that, 9.5% drop. So that number has gone down to 48%. It was 57%. And now it's 48%, because there is a notion that the Democrats are, some significant portion of Democrats are just going to stay on the couch. Because her whole closing theme is, oh no, we can't put him back in office because he's of this and he's of that, and they call him every name in the book. They call him Hitler, they call him Mussolini, but people generally don't vote for negative things. They want to vote for something. Give me something to vote for. And that's what Trump has done. You want no tax on Social Security income? Vote for me. I'm your guy. I will eliminate the tax on Social Security income. With a wave of a pen, it's gone. So there's over 60 million Americans on receiving Social Security benefits. And if that becomes non-taxable all of a sudden, if you're in a 10% tax bracket, and if you're getting, $20,000 a year in Social Security benefits, that's $2,500 that stays in your pocket instead of having to write a check to Uncle Sam. Will there be another debate? This 1%. There's no chance of that. Trump isn't going to give her any airtime. No. I don't think there's any chance of that. So here's the map again. That is... So you got basically... Michigan is the only toss-up state that remains on the poly forecast map. So they're not calling it a sweep because Michigan is a total, 48% to 48%. It's a tie. Let me show you. I got some fresh polling data here. Let's see. I got to go up to. I got to go this way to get to it. There it is. I'm going to give you a full screen around. Oh, yeah, geez, you can't see this. Sorry, folks. Yeah, we're going to give you a full screen around this one. Here we go. North Carolina. All right, see, I put green doodads on there to show you that, there's three. North Carolina, Trump versus Harris. There's three different polling companies. WRAL, TV Survey USA did one, 47-47. Atlas Intel did one, 48-49. Harris up one. Trafalgar Group, we've heard of them. Trump plus 3. All right, so the next group. Oops, didn't quite get that right. To Wisconsin, there's two of them. Trump up one, and there's a tie. When you get old, your eyes are a little. All right, there's three. All right, there's three Michigans. I got that one right. I got the little bracket. Trump plus 1. Trump plus 1. Harris plus 5. What? You would call that an outlier. That's how they would call that. And you got two reputable polls, and it's like, almost tie all the time. And all of a sudden, that would probably mean they didn't quite have the right sampling. They had a little too many Democrats in the sample because it's just, it's just so far out from the other two. Call it outlier. All right, Pennsylvania. We got three polls with Pennsylvania, 2 ties and a Trump plus 3. Now, usually these polls, if there are 1,000 people sampled, let's take a look at this Atlas Intel poll. I'm just going to, I can't touch on it because this is I'll go there in a minute. Arizona, Harris plus 1, Trump plus 4. Nevada. It's not Nevada, it's Nevada. We got 3 Nevadas. Trump plus 1, tie, Trump plus 1. So it looks like Nevada, which is a border state to Mexico, is going to go with Trump. But it's close. It only goes to Trump if people get out and vote. Now, if people don't vote, then the poll won't be accurate. There's only one poll that is accurate, and that's election results. Now here's a single Georgia, Trump plus 3. A single poll from Florida Atlantic University, which is where I've been adjunct faculty for 21 years, 22 years. Yep. Trump 53, Harris 44. So Florida, according to the Florida Atlantic University poll, is 9. It's they say, well, it's in play. According to FAU, it's not in play. When you're up at 53, you get over 50%. That's a pretty high number. Pretty hard to jump over that person. Okay, Georgia, Trump plus 3. Florida, Trump plus 9. That's the FAU poll. Ohio, Trump plus 6. Minnesota, Harris plus 8. New York, Harris plus 18. All right, now here's 3 national polls. I got the little groupie, the little green thingy there. Trump plus 2, and then Harris plus 1, Harris plus 1. So they're both in the margin of error. So the national poll, which is where you would see the popular vote kind of thing. The notion that that Trump could win the popular vote that seems a little crazy, doesn't it? But that's what they're saying. There's a possibility for that. They're Las Vegas. They're betting on it. Wisconsin, a tie and Trump plus 1. Michigan, Trump plus 1, Trump plus 1, Harris plus 5. See, there's another one of those outliers. Yeah, I don't think Michigan sees. Well, Michigan is considered a toss-up. Alrighty, Pennsylvania. That's one that's in the talking sheets everywhere. Tie, Trump plus 3. So they're all inside the margin of error. So Pennsylvania is a toss-up, according to the polling that came in this morning, which is basically yesterday and the day before. Arizona, Harris plus 1, Trump plus 4. That would be 1 point outside of the margin of error. There's only 2 of them, so I don't have any other acid remarks. All right, here we got 3 for Nevada. Trump plus 1, tie, Trump plus 1. I mean, this, when you're plus 1, so here when you got the plus 3s and plus 6s and plus 9s. Georgia, Trump plus 3. Florida, Trump plus 9. Ohio, Trump plus 6. What's this right here? We got 4 national polls. Trump plus 2, Harris plus 1, Harris plus 1, Harris plus 3. So I would say there's a better than even chance that she'll end up with the popular vote because of, California and New York are heavily, you got so many voting in California and they're ultra liberal. It's hard to, unless a lot of people stay home. Now, Trump has given a lot of people reasons to get off the couch and go vote, and Harris has not. So there's, I'm just, I'm just a man on the street interview here, and if I was, if I had millions and millions of people listening to me, you know, I don't walk around here every day with a Trump hat on. Make America Great Again. I don't even know if I have a Make America Great Again. I have a red hat. I won't wear it because I'm afraid of getting beaten up. Because the liberals are, you know, they're like, you know, that's the amazing thing. They keep on saying how dangerous the conservatives are. And the truth is, it's the liberals that light all the fires. Ask Minnesota. Ask your governor, Walz. He watched Minnesota burn. His wife says, yeah, I love the smell of burning rubber. These people. Why would you even say that? Even if you, who the hell likes the smell of burning rubber? It's the most obnoxious smell you can possibly smell. Jeez. All right. Will we know who's going to be the next president on election night? It's more likely than you think. And that's because a lot of these swingers aren't swinging. And I think the media is getting the joke that this guy right here will probably gain office again. It hasn't happened since Grover Cleveland 120 years ago, roughly. I looked it up. Grover Cleveland, I think. He served 4 years, then did not win a contiguous next 4 years, and then he came back and became president again. He's the only president in American history, you know, going back 250 something years, that has served 8 years, but not continuous. Not contiguous, not continuous, whereas 8 years in a row. Grover Cleveland served 8 years, but separated by 4. And if Trump does the same thing, he'd be the second one. Because he'd be president, you know, 45 and 47. He'd be the 45th president and the 47th president. This is a guy that beat up Nancy Pelosi's husband. He went in there and started swinging a hammer at him. Well, he just got sentenced to 30 years. Man serving 30 years for attacking Pelosi's husband gets a life sentence term on the state charges. All right. There's a bigger story there. I guess you got federal hate crime charges, and you got state charges. So he's now life in prison for swinging a hammer. You know, he's probably had too much to drink. He's on drug. You know, why would you go? You know, he was a repairman. He was fixing the windows. They ended up beating up on the, you know, what he was trying to get. He was in the house a while, and they're talking and this and that, and all of a sudden he starts beating him with a hammer. This is interesting. This is new news. Trump announces last night from Mar-a-Lago. That's like the background screen that he has on Mar-a-Lago. Trump announces a compensation fund to provide restitution for victims of migrant crime if he's elected. And that would happen, you know, like if during crimes they seize property. You know, that's the result of drug deals or this and that, and they, you know, you see them seize all this cash and stuff. Well, that goes into a big fund. I mean, there's billions of dollars worth of assets. Well, now they can liquidate those assets and give these people restitution when crimes are, you know, assessed against illegals, against U.S. citizens. The U.S. citizens would then be compensated for their, the crime committed against them or their family. Trump says his New York rally was a love fest. CNN says, I watched it. In Madison Square Garden, that was, those people stood in line for 8 hours for a reason. Because they, you're right in the belly of the beast when you go into Manhattan and quickly get 20,000 people to show up for a conservative. That's probably telling. I saw a poll where New York State is within 2 points of turning red. That if that happens, we're talking well over 300 electoral college votes. How to finally abolish electoral college? Well, I'll tell you what. It would take it would take an amendment to the Constitution. It's not going to happen because you have to get like 75% of the states to vote for it. Each state votes for it, and I believe to alter the Constitution, you've got to have 75%. For that to happen. It's not a simple majority. It's a supermajority. And I think the supermajority is 75%. I have a constitution. I'll look it up. How to finally abolish the electoral college. That would be, no matter who wins the presidency, there is no one going to do that. And this guy certainly isn't interested in doing that. Because our Constitution is just fine with regard to that. And what it basically does is it prevents the huge states, like New York and California, from taking over all the elections. It gives, Montana and North Dakota and South Dakota and Tennessee and all these smaller states a chance to kind of like measure up, to these huge populations areas, and particularly in light of the fact that the Democrats are trying to allow the illegals to vote. Non-citizens aren't supposed to vote. That's in the Constitution. And I don't think a governor can just wave his hand and go against the Constitution with regard to a national election. He can do what he wants with the state elections if his legislature will support that. But just because the state and the governor, want to be fast and loose with the voting, the U.S. Constitution doesn't provide for that. Terry Garr. She has died. I believe I wrote 79 down there in the lower right corner because I think was her age. Yeah. That's not a 79-year-old picture. And if it is, let's find out who does her skincare products. That face looks it looks like a 45-year-old face to me. But what do I know? Enola Gay. 141-foot wingspan airplane Stratofortress is capable of carrying 20,000 pounds worth of bombs. Well, it delivered the 4,000. It delivered a very heavy atomic bomb. Hiroshima or Nagasaki, one of them. The B-29 Stratofortress, the World War II bomber that shaped aviation history. 1945. Yeah, that's boom, with the blink of an eye, 70,000 people are dead. Immediately, Japan said, okay, that's it, war's over, we give up, you win. And, the Battle of Midway, that was a real close one. Yeah. There's a little sign down here painted on, no smoking within 100 feet, or else the sucker could go pop. But look at the nose on that baby. Yeah. Oof. Emergency exit right there through that window. There's all kinds of information about the serial number of the plane. There's all the rivets and the re-rivets and the rivets on the rivets. Keeping all those pieces of, I guess, sheets of aluminum in place. Because it does get pressurized, when it's in flight. So that's looking at the nose of the plane. There's the nose of the plane, and all the rest of the plane. Got 4 engines, a big wingspan to carry capable of carrying 20,000 pounds of, bombs. There's looking from underneath, and there's looking from the top. I gave you all the views of that plane that was flying around almost 80 years ago. Why Jeff Bezos blocked the Washington Post from endorsing anybody? Well, that's, these billionaires are looking around, and that's a signal, he probably thinks Trump's going to win. And I'm not putting my newspaper on the dotted line, supporting the lady. Because if he wins, I got to deal with him and all my tax laws and everything. So I want to be on the winning team. Everybody wants to be on the winning team, particularly billionaires. He's a multi-billionaire. He may be second in line for the most billions. Where Elon Musk has got, 180 billion. Bezos got 120 billion. Lots of billions. And we all know what Jeff Bezos, he is Amazon.com. Yeah, there it is. There's I've been looking at these data cards. I'm thinking of maybe switching to the data cards for my memory backup for these computers. Let's go back here. Yeah. There we go. And I get it on Amazon.com. How Putin views the choice between Harris and Trump. Well, I can tell you right now, he wants Harris because he can manipulate her. He knows Trump is a tough cookie. So, yeah. If it's oh yeah, he's definitely for Harris, which that's a signal. And so is President Xi, and so half of the people in Europe that haven't paid their 2%. You're supposed to pay 2% of your gross national product into the United Nations so that you're defended. Before Trump was in office, They weren't paying in. The U.S. was paying everything. And he basically said, you don't pay in, I'm not defending you. If Russia starts to, come after you, you're on your own. You want the UN to help defend you? Pay your delinquents. Pay up. You got 400, gosh. I can't remember whether it's millions or billions, but he got a lot of money that he ordinarily wouldn't have gotten. It's probably billions. He's got billions and billions. Because it takes a lot of money, to fund up, into the UN so that you get, it'll defend you from. So, a judge continues to block Florida from threatening TV stations over abortion ads. Apparently this is our governor. Yeah, he signed HB 5 CS/HB 5 reducing fetal and infant mortality. That's the name of this law, executive order, or whatever. And there's a judge somewhere that says, not so fast. So I'm sure he'll be appealing that. But, the ads end pretty soon because in 5 days the election, the pre-election stuff is over. The Democrats only have a couple of days to throw a stink bomb out there if there's any stink bombs left. The Supreme Court, I'm reading here over the AP, the Supreme Court has blocked non-citizen voters in Virginia. Well, of course. The U.S. Constitution and the Virginia Constitution says you're not a citizen, you don't vote. Period. They have like 5 or 6 states that had to go to the Supreme Court to stop this. They're democratically appointed federal judges. They're saying, oh yeah, leave them on the rolls. Virginia says, no, I'm fighting this all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has just ruled. No voting. This is the second election in a row. All right, so here's another billionaire. Billionaire Ken Griffin says the expectation today is Donald Trump will likely win the White House. So that's why you got all these CEOs, these big companies are all, they're all flocking around, making Trump noises because they want to be viewed they want their companies to be viewed favorably. Yep. So the feathers of this little bird is showing the airline industry how to design their flaps to keep planes from stalling. That when an aircraft stalls, there's not enough lift on the wings, and it just flops down out of the sky like a rock. And if you're, 2,000 or 3,000 feet up, you don't have enough feet to recover, probably. If you're 10,000 feet up and you stall out, now you got some room to, get some airspeed and then, pull out of a stalled scenario. So when the plane comes down, it goes, it goes like this. And hopefully they have just enough altitude to recover. But if it stalls out, 1,500 feet up, and your aircraft stalls, you're going to be belly flopping, which means it goes boom. Yeah. So they're looking at these feathers to see how, look at the curvature there. Wow, it's big curvature. Let's see how these birds can come almost to not a stop, but slow, so it doesn't stall out. 22 harsh realities of aging that get ignored. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Getting old is, I'm getting older, Getting old is a marvelous thing. Obviously the alternative is a lot worse. Just think about it. You want to keep having birthdays. They stop having birthdays. That's not a good thing. So, aging is a marvelous thing. As long as you don't become ambulatory, or you can't, I don't know what that is. That's a political call. You can't go. You can't go to the bathroom by yourself. If people have to help you go to the toilet, that's when I'm saying, "Okay, Marilyn, throw me over the balcony." I don't want you having to wipe my butt. I am not anywhere near that condition. I'm aging very nicely. Volkswagen to shut down the EV factory in Brussels. Yeah. So they created a factory to make electric vehicles, and apparently they just don't need that factory to be running in Brussels. So they just make the cars in another factory. They have several. Look at this big polar bear is asking a man for help. Look how big that polar bear is. That's his head. His head is bigger than half this guy's whole body. And this guy's hugging him. And of course those claws could rip all his skin off, but apparently he's talking to that bear in such a way as he's going to render help to maybe that bear's offspring or something. Yeah. The massive polar bear asks man for help. I have to get to the bottom of that story. So I just got it when I came on the air here. See there? 9:14 a.m. 1 minute before airtime, this thing pops up. Jeez. Got to find out what's going on with that story. Woo! That's a big one. How do I find that story? It's 10:15. Could I find it while I'm on the air here? Let's give it a shot. I'll go. Let's go to. I don't know where I find that one. So I'm just going to page through real quick here. Looking for polar bears. I can search it. Let's go there. I'll search it on this screen over here. It's amazing what you can do with these old iPads. I've got my old iPad hooked right up there. See, I'm shaking that. Yeah. All right, I can touch that. Let's just do look up. Polar bear has been rescued after getting help from, let's see, maybe he just wants help for himself. Let's touch that one. Business Insider. Polar bear has been rescued after getting its tongue stuck in a tin can. See here? Yeah, oh my God. And asking humans for help because you got this goddamn can stuck on my tongue. I was trying to lick out the contents of the can, and there we go. He's laying down because he's, oh my God. He's sucking. The sedated female polar bear lays on the ground after veterinarians removed a tin can stuck in his mouth. And they left fish for him after he wakes up so that he can have something to eat. Because the Moscow Zoo specialists were able to reach the emaciated young bear in time. He looked a pretty big bear to me. The team tranquilized the bear and removed the can from her mouth with pliers and treated her mouth cuts with antibiotics, which were not serious. The anesthetized, say that 3 times. The anesthetized bear was then flown 50 miles by helicopter to a release area and laid carefully on the tundra. Don't you remember the tundra? I was not good at remembering things like tundra when I was in high school. Yeah, I was terrible. Sophomore in high school, when they did all this tundra stuff, you know, this area is tundra and this area, you know. Oh my God. I was a C+ student when it came to that. But I love to take stuff apart and build oscilloscopes out of TVs. And the Moscow Zoo team also left 110 pounds of fish, so that when she wakes up, she'll see all them fishes laying around, and and she's so hungry, she'll probably go and eat it. Okay, look at that. See? We got an answer to that question. There's the pliers. Yeah, cool. Let's get back to Channel 10. There we go. So that bear is saying, "Please help me. I got this can on my mouth, and I can't eat, and I'm hungry because this thing's in the way." All right, so we figured that out. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going through here, seeing if there's anything else you need to know before I click out of here. Let's reverse squeeze that and get rid of that. Yeah, you can go 3 at a time. And she died. He's going to jail for life for beating up Nancy Pelosi's husband. Now the USA is thinking of rehabilitating their whole idea of a space station. It looks like a bicycle wheel with, you see the iron wire, or stainless steel wire, or some kind of wire, so that they have all this support for this middle piece. This is a drawing. Space Force. Space.com. This may have nothing to do with Space Force, but anyway. Since the space station that we're presently working out of is 20-something years old and, it's leaking for some reason or other. I could think of a few reasons, but no one asked me. You're out in space and there's like space junk. Little bits and pieces that are traveling, 20,000 miles an hour. Bam, it'll go through, the metal that the space station is made of. It just goes right through it. Bing. So you got 2 holes, an entry hole and an exit hole. May only be the size of a dime or a nickel or smaller, and all of a sudden you got a leak. It's magically This it's not a bullet, but if you have a little stone that's going 18,000 miles an hour, and it happens to collide with your space station, you got a hole in your space station. Yeah. Fortunately, it didn't hit your oxygen tank. All right, there's our leader standing as he just comes into, I guess, Madison Square Garden. Here he is with the little flags, Make America Great Again. I had to line that picture up because it was all crooked. I made it uncrooked. There you go. Donald Trump wants to win an election, which means he's reaching out to other voters who might be skeptical of him. His record and his vision is an enormous challenge. The Republican president effectively has to target communities by saying, vote for me despite everything you already know. Because your life will be better. Your Dow Jones will always, I don't know where the Dow Jones necessarily be going. Elon Musk, there's where he caught his own vehicle 8 minutes after pushing a first stage up, and then look at that. The engines are firing to slow that sucker down. Now that just looks like, a small firecracker, but that is 30 feet in diameter and 230 feet tall. So that's like a 20-story office building that's 30 feet in diameter, and it weighs 550,000 pounds. 550,000 pounds. You can do the math on how many tons. Just divide it by 2. What? 2,000 pounds a ton. Anyway, I went the other way. 550,000 pounds. So this 2 or 3 engines. I think it's 3 engine in the middle center section of that. The 33 engines that are capable of people, but only 3 of them are operating, and they can provide enough thrust to slow. Now that was full. That had 10,000 pounds of fuel in it. Well, most of that fuel has been spent pushing up the first stage, up to 8,000 miles an hour, and then it has its own 6 engines, to carry it further into a deep space orbit or wherever it's. I forget where it was going. I think it just went into low Earth, almost orbit. This is a test flight, so they really want to try to insert the first stage into orbit. They wanted to, steer it back, because the next thing is and they're building another gantry. You can't see it in this shot. 500 feet or 1,000 feet away from this one, so they can catch the second stage also. They can't be. They're test flying. They can't be dumping all this stuff in the ocean. They want to be able to reuse it, and check the tiles that are protecting the outer body of the second stage, because that's now this one they do a where all the damage, if any, is at the end of this thing. It's not sliding in this way. It's coming in straight back as a, like a pencil flying back back to Earth. There's no wings on there. It has these doodads, which tend to line this sucker up from a directional standpoint, so that it's coming straight up and down, so these calipers can catch it. And it was like spot on. I understand that they had a 1 second window to abort the maneuver that it made to get in range for the calipers, because if they couldn't catch it, they don't want it crashing and burning and ruining this gantry, because that'd be another $20 million in time wasted. So but they didn't have to abort it. It was right on course for landing properly, so they didn't abort it. So they didn't have to touch anything within a sec. They only had to touch it if they were going to abort it. So, which is a little different than the way they wrote the story. Mainstream media keeps dominating the story on how a Trump administration is going to break up the whole American. A bunch of crapola. They're all standing on line to vote. It's amazing, even with early voting. It's still, we had no line. It was like 2 people ahead of us. 1 person ahead of us when we showed up at, during the lunch hour 2 days ago. And we got right in, did the procedure, and voted. Steve Bannon issues a warning to Kamala Harris after his prison release. I don't know what that warning would have been. I'll have to find that out. Polestar EV are now able to use the Tesla supercharger, and you can see it's plugged in. Just about all the car manufacturers that we know today have agreed to use the Tesla socket design, and now they called it something, the NA, TS. I forget what they call it, but it's the national. They agreed upon national plug, and they decided the Tesla plug is the best plug out there. So why not use it? It's certainly, you plug that sucker in, and it recognizes who you are, because it not only has in the handle of what you plug in, it has some transmission capabilities of reading who you are from the car. So the car, while it, within 2 seconds, when you plug it in, the Tesla electric pump, if you will, then goes to your car computer and reads your information, the debit card or whatever bank account that you've assigned to Tesla to make your payments, if you make payments, or if you put your credit card, debit card, or bank account information in the car, so that you can charge at supercharger stations. Whether as a Tesla driver, that information is then in the computer in the car. You enter that when you first get the car, and so that when you plug it in, the supercharger goes to your computer, gets that information, and then that information then goes back to the supercharger computer, and so then it has an account to whack when you put $20 or $30 worth of electricity in the car. And every car manufacturer that is contemplating making any kind of an electric vehicle. I mean, Tesla already has 20,000, stations. And they're increasing, like 5 a day. I think that's the number I read somewhere. So they're buying a property and putting these stations in. There's a whole row of them here that you can see in the background. There's, 1, 2. There's 3 that are open right next to this car. We have 12 supercharger stations in our 12 of these things in one location in the second story of a parking garage in our mall. And I can go to the Tesla app right here. And we wanted to charge. Charging. See, I have a card that has 834 miles left on it. Straight. Let's just watch this one. Floor number 2. I don't know. Is there any information about this parking garage? There it is. Allow while using the app. So there's the supercharger station right there. So wherever Marilyn is right now. This is me. So it's telling me that if I'm here, it's going to 17 minutes to get to that parking garage. All right. When you're in the car, a map pops up, and it tells you, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It tells you how many available charging spots there are. There are 12. So if a number 12 pops up, that means there's no one there. There's no cars in the thing. If a 1 shows up, that tells you that there's one of those electric pumps ready for you. And you just plug it in and sit back in the car, and or you can walk over into the mall and float around in the mall, because your iPhone, remember, your phone is your key. Your iPhone will tell you if you need to hurry back because you only got 5 minutes to go. So the car will be full to the extent you asked. In other words, if you wanted to fill it to 90%, if you wanted to fill it up to 80%, if you wanted to fill it all the way up, whatever you chose, because you can decide. Then it gives you a 5-minute warning when it's going to be full to the extent that you requested. It'll automatically hit your card when you disconnect from the supercharger, and then it hits your debit card or credit card, whatever card information you have on file in your computer in the car. Everything's computer nowadays. It's very nice, I'll tell you. And they usually put these superchargers in a location where there's a place to get coffee or donuts or whatever, where you can relieve yourself, so that, by the time you do a few of those things, and by the time you get back to the car's, been, because it takes 20 minutes to do that, 22 minutes. So maybe you have to wait 3 more minutes to get your car filled up to the extent you want it to. So it's really quite well thought out. They don't put up these stations in the middle of freaking nowhere. They always try to put them near expressways, one or two, and in a place that has, a Starbucks or something close by, so that you have something to do. Because if you're driving, hours and hours and hours, you need a break. Just a little break. Okay. It's an hour and 21 minutes. It's 20 minutes before my cleaning people are going to show up, so I'm gonna click off for the day, and we'll talk tomorrow. And it'll be one less day closer to the election, and see what happens. So go vote. VOTE. Take a day. Take 10 minutes out of your busy schedule, whatever, and go to your polling location. No matter where you are, you can find out where that is, and just vote. I mean, it's your civic duty to pick who you'd like to have as president. Think about it. Think. Remember the desk signs that all IBM employees had on their desk? It just said "think." Yeah, I have one of those somewhere. I do. All right. I'm going to give you full scale sound on Sound Epidemic, my royalty-free music. And you all have a great day. Please do